Okay, good afternoon. It's very nice to be here. Um, I will also talk about PostGIS and so on. This is about the Portuguese specification for thematic cartography. We used to use CAD and CAD files and MicroStation, AutoCAD and so on. But since 2019, the Portuguese Map Agency changed the standards, and the standard now is uh, objects, objects in the real sense of objects, and this uh, can be realized in a Postgres database. So since 2019, all the topographic maps are made with this new standard. And changing the standard has a major impact in the tools. I'll, I'll talk about two tools. So right now we have a proper database with relations between objects, with value tables and so on, and we move away from CAD files where you only have a draw and you have to draw things, and it was almost all visual. And if you have to put things on the visual or behind the visual part, you have to put codes and associate codes with the elements. It was really difficult, not clear, and only a few ones were able to do this properly, this multi-coded cartography. So we did two applications to support this new standard. I will just mention this approval platform. It's a platform online, so producers can drag and drop 10 gigabytes of cartography to a website, and on our side we'll try to restore this as a Postgres database and start a lot of things in the background. The the platform is also, the source code of the platform is also on GitHub. Um, I will mention it briefly, but I will focus on this plugin because this plugin is for all people that would like to use this new standard. And while people knew how to open a CAD file and see immediately the cartography, if you open a database, you don't see immediately the contents of the database. So basically, our main goal was to make it so easy to open it in QGIS that everybody would start using QGIS. So the plugin is, of course, also available on GitHub, and we'll mention it later. Just starting with the approval platform, it's a standard web platform with a very detailed workflow with all the stages going from this to there and so on. But it ends, I can show you, since we can restore the database, because producers have to make a backup of the database and put the backup file on the website. They can use the custom format, plain format, and so on. We try to find out the specific format, and as soon as the cartography is uploaded, we start to recreate all the tables. We do a diff between the specification and the DLL that the producer sent, and we immediately see if there are new fields that were not in the specification, if there are missing fields for value tables, if there is a missing value, and so on. Everything is checked on our side. I will talk about this validation later. But at the end, immediately, we can create a visualization for the evaluators. So they can have in their browser a view of all the things that the producer have done, so they can start visually inspecting all this data and so on. So we also do this for the team working on the approval of the cartography. But tomorrow I have a small workshop. I can tell more about this way of taking all the information in the database and put it on the web automatically. So the goal of this Ricard plugin is to make QGIS the most suitable tool to handle this cartography. Let me just show the major features. So the major feature is to create a QGIS project with all the layers and all the styles. So in QGIS, you just say, this is my database. You have to create a connection, either with a service, either with your login and password, but this is my database. The data is there, so you just hit the button, create a project, and everything appears on QGIS. And the tree is a hierarchic tree with all the group layers, all the themes, and everything is there. So we'll see it later. We can add another functionality. So if users already have all cartography made with CAD and so on, they can import these files with this plugin. So this plugin takes a CAD file and creates a new database with all the tables according to the specification and with all the attributes and so on. It was also a major effort because GDAL was not able to handle all these CAD formats, and we made contributions to GDAL, so everything can be read using the plugin. More. We also made a very unuseful tool to export everything to other formats like shapefiles. People start asking to export things with relations and so on to shapefiles, which is, yeah, but users really love shapefiles, so this can export things to shapefiles, can export things to geopacks. Geopacks is nice because you can have all the things in the geopackage, and we create the geopackage with all the styles down there and a project, so you can move and you can send the geopackage with the project already ready to open and see all the things. More. One of the nicest things is the validation. So when we move to databases, when we move to GIS, a proper GIS database, you can do a lot of validations. I think, yeah, the sky is the limit about what kind of validations you can do. So moving to these functionalities, this is the basic one, as I said. You just have to say which is the connection. I'm so sorry. This is in Portuguese, so you have to learn Portuguese to read this. But you have just say the connection, and then it immediately show all the layers that are on the database, and you can select only some if you don't want to create the project with all the layers and so on. So you can select what you want in the project, because if you read all the layers, it can be a large project, but you have this option. But this is the basic functionality of the plugin. We also, since the beginning, have enhanced the plugin. The plugin can read more than one style for each layer, and these additional styles are used in themes. So when you create print layouts, you can use another style different from the one you use in QGIS, and even different styles if you use on the web. The other functionality is to import CAD files to PostGIS using QGIS. What we did was basically a tool that read all elements in a CAD file. Everything is read, and we create an intermediate representation of all things that are on a CAD file. And afterwards, you can write a transformation, a map between this object in the CAD file and this on the PostGIS. We have more than 1,000 rules written in JSON. So for the ordinary user, you just use the rules that we have. So, but you can change the rules, you can fine-tune these rules, and with these rules you can map a CAD file to a PostGIS database. And even you can use reference, and you can populate more than one table when you read things from CAD and put it on PostGIS. If you need to do something like that, this plugin might be a good base to see how this can be done. So this is the screenshot of how to export to other formats like GeoPackage or JSON file. You can also export as GeoJSON, shapefile, the usual. So here comes the validation, and the way we do that. These are the formal validation, because the specification has rules. The ones that wrote the specification, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. So we read the specification, and for each rule, we wrote a query to verify that requirement. And all this, we have many rules, and you can check to validate them all or just once. Of course, 3D validation is not so easy, but it's possible, and we do a lot of 3D validations. As an example, I think, this is, I think, one of the easiest ones. For example, if you have a contour and you have a water line that they cross, if they cross, they have to have the same Z, right? So it's easier. So you can write a query. Sometimes these water streams can cross the same contour more than once, so we have to dump the several intersection points, and you have to check from all the points if the Z equals on those. And for each rule, we verify how many intersections are there, how are good ones, and how many are bad ones. So have an insight of the rule. It was the percentage of the features that match the rule. And like this rule, we have many other rules, but mostly for these three-dimensional verifications, we create an initial tin. The tin can take 1 or 2 minutes to create, and then we use this tin to validate and to check the 3D. Also, if you like to see many rules and many validation rules and how we wrote this in SQL, you can check the source code, because we have really many rules down there. Also, some small details about the plugin. We also made a plugin available to work with QGIS with Qt5 and Qt6. So if you are developing plugins and preparing plugins You can check our pull request to see the changes. I don't know if this works. Yeah, it works. Oh. So we need to change our makefile, we need to change the way we import things, but if everybody start doing this in October, all plugins will run with Qt6, which is nice. There are some impact, but it's not so big. So it was a few changes, and afterwards you can have your plugin running on Qt6. If you are curious, we also made the releases based on a GitHub workflow. So everyone that is merging a pull request or creating a new feature that is interesting can make a new release and make the assets like the zip file, the plugin zip file, so people can download it. And this can be done just assigning a tag to the release, and then when you push the tags to GitHub, there is a hook on GitHub that produces the release of the plugin. So it's also a feature. So in conclusion, I will not dig in the details because this is online. You can go for yourselves and investigate, read the code and check how we did it. But this moving from CAD to an open source environment was a major opportunity to QGIS. All the producers were using proprietary software to produce cartography. They never used QGIS, but right now they are starting using QGIS, and they are all using Postgres because it's mandatory to produce in Postgres. And the flexibility of this open source and the flexibility of QGIS is that we can make a plugin that makes everything easy for the users and make the perfect tool to run this cartography. And right now in Portugal, everybody is using QGIS. Yes, to use this new cartography because no other tool can handle this as easy as QGIS. And just for the note, all or either the approvals, the tool, even the specification is on GitHub. They are starting to moving to open source. It was really a major compliment. And Ricard plugin is also available on GitHub. So if you are curious, you can go to GitHub. The plugin has a very good documentation in Portuguese. But for each functionality, even you have videos explaining how to do all the steps and how to do, for example, validations, how to import old cartography, how to fine tune the conversions and so on. Everything is online. And it's nice to have this online because if you go to the plugin, here to the plugin, you have pull requests, and for example, it's not usual that the tool is live and users are doing pull requests, and of course you can recognize in the pull request some QGIS contributors, but other than the ones that made the tool, people fine-tuning the conversion. These JSONs are JSONs for the conversion. People asking, I would like to have this and that, and it's nice. And also the issues, people reporting issues, reporting problems. And here we see in the issues, people really new to QGIS and asking basic things about QGIS because they are just starting using QGIS because they have to use QGIS to use this tool. So thank you very much. That was my presentation.